backseat driver.
I'm the moderator, so.
All right. So you just put up y'all's links while we're doing the live. Hi guys, if there's anybody in here, welcome. Hugo Homestead, how are you? I guess you just got my Christmas card in the mail. So it will probably take a little while for people to get in, so we can just chit chat for a while. I like your background there with the.
In my paintings.
Picture. Yeah, I was gonna put. I meant to ask her for a painting to use as your thumbnail. Mm-hmm. So I just went to Pixabay and found something that I thought was kind of cute and put that up. I thought, well, maybe later I'll find something better, and because after you do the live, you can replace it with a better one. So anyway,
no bunny rabbits, okay?
No bunny rabbits
or fairy damsels. Be all fine.
No, I think the one I chose was a picture of a fox.
Okay.
And it had some paint in it and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm working on. I like the Starry Nights. I'm working on Starry Nights and Snowmen right now.
I love snowmen. Yeah. The one I'm going to do in the kitchen, I have a shelf in there, and I usually put my snowman collection in the kitchen. And my husband's the one that does the village here in the back. That's in the background. Oh, that's pretty.
So this is a little snowman family painting.
I love how you did them from the back because you don't ever see that view, but I like that.
Yeah, and they're looking up at the star. And there's a little church way off in the distance with smoke coming out of the chimney.
Hi, John.
Keep it warm.
That's neat. I love that.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I called my sister and brother-in-law because my sister started painting this year, and I asked them if they had any questions. So I wrote down some of their questions. They might even come in today, and they had a ton of questions. They were beaming off the questions so fast I couldn't even write them down fast enough. I was like, whoa, whoa. So anyway, they might come in and ask some of their own, but I wrote down some of them.
Well, I'm only at a year of doing this, so I'm not the final authority on that at all.
Oh well, yeah, but you're a little further along than her because I think she's less than a year. She might be 6 months or 5 months or something. I don't know.
Well, I have 30 years of house painting and a lot of painting and staining and other craftsmanship behind me, which helped me get further quicker.
Oh, my dad was a house painter.
Yeah, and he can probably paint. He can probably do Bob Ross then.
Yeah, well, he passed away about 12 years ago.
Oh. Okay.
But he was a house painter, and he used to take all of us painting with him. I'm probably the least experienced of us all. My brother would be the most because he actually did it for a job for a while. My older sister that just passed away, she was probably the second best. Well, I don't know. Me and Tonda might be about the same, but anyway. But yeah, he took all of us and he paid us pretty well. And he usually bought us lunch when we went and worked with him. So I've always painted everything in my house by myself because, my dad was a painter. So
you're not afraid.
Scared to get in there and paint stuff. Right. So.
Yep.
All righty.
Yeah, I had my own painting company in Florida. It was I was self-employed, and for those of you that are self-employed, you will understand that you only have 3 employees, and those are me, myself, and I. And if I don't want to show up, someone like me will. And if I don't want to show up, someone like me doesn't want to be there. Then someone that looks just like myself will be there because I'm telling you, when you're self-employed, nothing gets done when you're not there.
There's nobody to back you up. My brother's doing good. My brother and my husband went hunting today for deer hunting. Well, they didn't get anything, but they did go out hunting. So that's where we were. We were out of town doing that. So if anybody has the ability to share this live out for me on their community tab, I would love it if you would do that. That's awesome.
I shared it.
Thank you, Joy. So I'm going to go ahead and start the questions and we'll let people catch up and they can always do the replay on it later. How long have you had your YouTube channel?
I've been doing Storyteller Donny. That's a simple question, which I would probably have to defer to Joy on when it actually was officially started. It's been over a year though.
Yeah.
I would say 2000. We basically 2000.
2000, and then hers was her. When was hers? Was it before that?
2018.
I only did like one video when we
One
got
or two
our
videos.
RV in 2018, and then I didn't really
We
start
didn't get
it until
serious till we got up
2019,
here.
2020.
Yeah, to Tennessee.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I started doing teachings way before I got on YouTube.
Teaching.
I put them on video, and sitting at a park bench, sitting at a picnic table during a summer day. At the beginning of in the Team Jesus archives, you'll see these older ones that I did on a Canon video camera, and then when Joy uploaded them to my channel. And so those are old. Those are back 2018, 2019, when we were in a place called Dad's Bluegrass Campground in Kentucky.
Kentucky.
In Kentucky. Okay. It was Franklin, Kentucky, just over the line from Tennessee. That's where we kind of ended up when we first came up here. We were looking for a place to stay in the Nashville area, but it was very closed. And just was not. It was like I felt like I was called to the Nashville area, but it just was not ready. There was no open doors, nothing happening. So that's how we ended up over here, which has actually been what God wanted, you know. And I'm doing the best I could to follow God on what I thought He told me to say. But He said, "Follow her." She knows. So
follow her.
Follow her, and not so many words, but it was like, yep. You know, and she was right. This is the place for us to be. So we really got serious about 2 years ago with YouTube, and then a year ago for me, starting to do lives and really believing that I could do it. You know, sometimes you go through months and months of saying nobody's going to watch. I don't want to do this. Fear of rejection. I grew up with a lot of rejection feelings, and so. Just took Joy's telling me, you know, nope, just get started, you know, and it's your gift to teach, so teach, and it's your gift to storytell, so storytell. And I don't doubt the gifts. So if I don't doubt that, why would I doubt an opportunity to share?
That's right. I've been your chicks. You were the one that danced at the YouTube beat up with Shannon, right?
Yes.
Okay, I thought I remembered that right, because we were there. I can't remember if we talked at that time, but I do remember you dancing, doing the clog dance with Shannon. I thought that I was going to ask you that. I don't know if I wrote it down, but I was like, I want to not forget to ask him, because I think that was him. So why did you decide to start your YouTube channel?
Well, I started Storyteller because I'm a storyteller, and I have a CD. I have a lot of CD recordings. I was thinking there was some way of using those. Because my stories are teaching stories. They're not just fantasy or anything. They're always getting a point across. It's the way that God teaches me. You know, He wants me to know something, and I'm asking a lot of questions in the Bible about, well, why, God, why is this? Why is this? It seems like the storytelling gift will come in. I feel like in the same way the Lord's Prayer is more of a outline to prayer than an exact prayer. I feel like the Bible is an outline for God's communication. God is saying a lot more than the Bible. But the Bible can only hold so many words. And if we're blessed with a gift that allows us to fill in the blanks, you know, and put in the emotion and put in the feeling, be able to make real to someone, like with David and Goliath, making that story real. That's why there's so many movies of David and Goliath, and so many cartoons and so many stories about David and Goliath, because that story tells a wonderful story. But what it doesn't tell is that it was 20 years before he became king after killing Goliath. We think, oh, David killed Goliath, and then it was like, king. There was 20 years of preparation, 20 years of trials, character building, making him be able to be qualified to be a king. And so that would be a story that I would tell
Mm-hmm.
to get people to understand how you have an anointing and a gift right away, and it'll work, like slaying Goliath. But the kingdom, to be king and an authority over your life and over a kingdom, takes character and more training and more trials to build. And so I like to break things down into the Greek, understand the stories, all those things. It was interesting to me how the Israelites did not become bold until David cut the head off Goliath. Now, even when Goliath fell, they didn't move. But once he cut the head off and separated the authority of the head from the manifestation of the body, then they got all bold. And
Yeah,
so
they were so mean to him in that story. They were terrible to him. And after they made fun of him, they still put him in front of the giant. And I'm like, well, if you had no faith in him, why did you do that? You just figured you didn't have any more options or what? That made sense.
Yeah, just let him kill the kid, and it won't be one of our soldiers. And yeah, just go ahead and kill the kid.
Yeah, Hello, our treasured home, Deanna Grooms, and Forensic Mystics. I recently got interested in the Joseph story.
Okay.
Where his brother sold him into slavery. Mm-hmm. And there was a little bit of when I was listening to it, I don't know how I came across it, but I was listening to it on YouTube stories, and they kept missing the part between when he thought that he had been with his wife and when he ended up being the governor or whatever. So there was a piece there of forgiveness that they didn't explain in any of these stories, where he realized that he was right and that he didn't do anything bad, that he was an honorable man. They missed that in the story every single time.
The general, when his wife came to him and with David's coat and said he assaulted me, and the general had to throw him in jail, into prison. You're right. Actually, that general had a right to kill him, mm-hmm. and should have killed him. And I'm sure the wife wanted him dead, but the general knew that it didn't happen. There was nothing he could do. He had to discipline Joseph for the accusation his wife made, of his assault. But he knew that he didn't do it, or he would have killed him. If he thought he did it, he would have killed him.
He just punished him because it looked bad if he didn't punish him,
right? Because
of the accusation, probably
that would dishonor
his wife and kill him. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. He would have killed him if he was actually guilty.
Hi, Ariel, Viking Venture and Victuals. How are you? How long have you guys lived in Tennessee?
We have been here permanently since the winter. Since Christmas.
2019.
Christmas 2019 is when we came from Florida for the last time, and we went to a place called Callahan's, McCulloch's in Pigeon Forge. Mm-hmm. Then we went to a place called Lazy Llama in Greenville, North Carolina, mm-hmm. which is near Chuckey, Tennessee, which is near Greenville, Tennessee. And then from there, we came over here to Pigeon Forge in July of July 2 years ago. So now we've been here 2.5 years.
We really enjoyed our time there. What is your favorite place to visit in Tennessee? The place that, because you live there, there's all the tourist things, all these cool things. What is your favorite place that you just keep going back to because you're like, oh, I just love that place?
Well, because
Because
I'm a foodie, of course, I have, certain places that I would like to eat. Again, even if it's Cracker Barrel, which is, of course, across the country. But there is so many good places to eat around here. So many good restaurants. I love the Apple Barn, and we like Texas Roadhouse, and we like. There's another one called Fort Worth Texas Kitchen. That's mm-hmm. really good. So but as far as a place that I would like to go, I would say the Roaring Forks Motor Nature Trail. right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Roaring Forks Motor Nature Trail.
In Gatlin.
What was the one called that we did? That you had us do?
Cades Cove.
Cades Cove. Okay.
Cades Cove.
That one is 11 miles, but it can take you hours to get through it because of the traffic and bear jams.
Yeah, and
there's the one in Gatlinburg, Roaring Nature Motor Trail. It takes a little while driving through it, but it doesn't have the traffic jams that Cades Cove
it's
has.
just one lane.
We actually brought food. We brought picnic food to actually because we knew. Well, y'all probably warned us.
Yeah, it's a good place. I like Cades Cove as well. We've seen some bears in the trees right over the road. We liked Motor Nature Trail because of the view. You can see the view of the valley without seeing the city from the Motor Nature Trail. And so that's a beautiful view. That's our new our card and our new our front page of our Joy Blessed Life is the view we saw one time from the Motor Nature Trail. And there's creeks and running rapids in the Motor Nature Trail. And it's just this beautiful. And Rainbow Falls is up there, and other hiking opportunities are up there.
Yeah, I think I remembered you saying you like the nature stuff the best of all the stuff there.
Ogle Campground, original cabins are up there to see and to look at the history of how people lived 150 years ago now. And so I think, as far as if I was driving in the car and I wanted to go someplace, that's probably where I would go. We recommend it to everybody that comes to town, just because it's so unique. It's your own little roller coaster in your car of bridges and creeks and mountainsides and views that you just don't get.
Yeah, I feel like I needed more time to see more stuff while we were there.
Yep.
You know, I felt like we needed another week or something, or another 2 weeks or something. How long have you and Joy been married?
Oh, well, we've coming up on 30 years.
30 years? What?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, 10 days from now will be our first time we met 30 years ago.
Thank you, Vineyard Chicks, for becoming a member. That was sweet of you.
Oh, sweet.
Aw.
Yeah, we did 30 years. I'd been single for 3 years, and I wasn't planning on getting married again. Joy was single; she wasn't planning on getting married again, and God put us together at the same table at a cast party, and she already knew what was going on, but I didn't know. So, it was kind of
fixed up, and she knew on her side, but you didn't know.
As soon as I sat down next to her, and she was a redhead, I said, I knew I was marrying a redhead. So, but the only thing God showed me was I'd be marrying a redhead one day.
That's good.
Wow.
She's blonde now, just for, she's back to her roots. And so that works out. But it's 30 years, and I had, of course, a painting company in Florida at that time. It was paying the bills, and everything was going all right. And we did pretty good. We bought a house in Tampa and all that, and we're there. And then finally we got the call to come up to Tennessee in 2017. And then we left in 2018 and worked our way up here.
Yeah. It looks like a pretty spot. I enjoyed it. That's been on my list to go visit there for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss getting some of the painting questions in. But I was going to ask you, what's your favorite Bible verse? Because mine is Jeremiah 29:11. That's my favorite one.
I came out of a really difficult past. A lot of the world, a lot of things. And it's I talk about it on Team Jesus, on certain testimony. I won't get into it now. But for me, I needed to get free from a lot of things, voices in my head, a lot of things. And it was Galatians 5:1. It's I stand fast in the liberty that Christ has given me, and I'll be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. And one of the translations says to the slavery of the flesh. And basically I was a slave to my own flesh. Everything my body wanted to do, everything I thought I would come out my mouth, everything I wanted to do, I did. It was all about stimulation, doing the fastest thing, the best thing, taking the highest risk, whether
Yeah.
it was, I never skydive, but I did water diving and things like that, and the risk and all of that. So a very high risk life, very high adrenaline life, addicted to adrenaline. But that scripture, I used that one. That was the one I used the most at now. And of course, that one has to do a lot with not going back to what used to control you. And that's my big thing. That's my number one.
Turning away from it. Yeah.
Yep.
I've had to turn away from quite a few things myself. Let me tell you, my life is totally different now, and people probably see me as little Miss Goody Goody Two Shoes, but that's really not who I was. I'm trying to be good and better now. And my life goes so much better when I'm doing right and in God's will. When I'm going wrong, it just goes wrong. But when my husband and I got together, we decided we were going to go back, both of us go back to church. So that's what we've done in our past. Well, it'll be 8 years in January. So
okay.
8 years.
You're over the 5 hump. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
over
good.
the 5, over the 7, and almost to the 8. You said, I asked how long you had been painting, or we talked about painting earlier, and you said you've been painting for a year. How did you learn painting? Or did you just get it out and start messing around? Or did you watch YouTube videos? Did you look at books?
Bob
did
Ross.
you learn from a person? Bob Ross?
Watch
oh,
Bob
my daughter
Ross.
loves Bob Ross.
And then Joy just said, you can do that. And I did it. The first time I even tried. I did it. It was like, I just did that. I can't even believe I did that.
Yeah.
I had no idea I could do that. So it's always
you're good at really. I would have thought you'd been painting longer than a year by looking at your paintings.
Well,
I actually looked at some today and I was like, oh, those are really good. But I didn't know. I would have guessed a lot more years than that. Definitely.
Well, I think the house painter, being a painter for all those years, painting houses and rooms and trim and fancy things, I think that really helps because I know how to blend paint. I know how brushes work. I know I know colors. I know what 2 colors is going to make the color I want. And I think that's a lot of people's mistake when they say, well, Bob Ross is easy. Well, yeah, he is easy, but you don't really get that color mix. How do you get that exact green? How does he make that sky that color? That's the key, because you can brush it out.
Yeah.
Getting that right color. I think I had some experience with that. That really helped me move along quicker than most people.
Hi, Native Wild Man. Okay, so this is getting into the questions from my sister and brother-in-law. What kind of paint do you use?
I use 2 kinds. Well, 3. I use oil paintings, and then I also do the acrylic. Now, the acrylics, go ahead and go to Walmart and get Walmart canvases and get Walmart acrylics. They're only $1.50. It's a great way to use up the paint, get the hang of it. But at places like Hobby Lobby, there's a paint called Master's Touch. And Master's Touch, whether it's oil or acrylic, is the best. It's it's thicker, it's richer, it has brighter colors, and you don't have issues with it like you do with the cheaper Walmart paint, but it's twice the price. And there's a cat. Kitty.
That's Curly Sue.
And
she's
I've got a Siamese myself.
Oh, do you?
I absolutely love her.
It's my baby.
I've never been a cat person until I got a Siamese cat. So they're
Oh
really
yeah. She's not used to me doing this on the kitchen table, so she's trying to walk across my my keyboard.
Go to keyboard. Oh, watch out! We've lost a few videos that way.
Oh yeah.
Start over.
Well, yeah, they can really mess up a keyboard too. Because I had one mess up I think it was my M or my N, one of those 2 letters. And
then on the painting thing at Hobby Lobby, they have painting kits, and 1 tube of paint is $5, but you can get like 10 tubes of paint for $30 in a box. So you want to look for the acrylic kit, and every other week or so, Hobby Lobby puts them on half off. So you can get 50% off a $39 acrylic kit, and get it for $15. And
Yeah.
an easel, you've got to get a wooden easel. Get a tabletop wooden easel that you can sit in a chair in front of a table. Have your paints all laid out in front of you. And the canvases are all pretty much the same. You do want to have a primer. The canvas comes primed, but you also want to do another one right before you paint so that it's fresh. And that helps blend things in. And so that's how I got started. And then someone said they had a desire of their heart for me to paint oil. So they sent me an oil paint kit. And the smallest one I recommend is the $60 one that gives you a bunch of little tubes. But doggone, those 1 ounce tubes cost $5.99, and for $7.99 you can get a 5 ounce tube. So you have to kind of look for the deals on that. And the brushes, you'll notice when you look at the brushes, you want the medium or the soft. They usually have 3 packs of brushes there, and you don't realize you're buying a different stiffness with each pack. So you want several. Oh, I wonder who this is for.
That's for the person who sent the oil paints. That was Kathy. Oh. My Alabama Farm Life. She sent him oils, and he made this for her. He's got to send it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
I got my eye on that. I got my eye on the lighthouse painting. I saw that one earlier, and I have been infatuated with lighthouses ever since I lived in Rhode Island. There's my brother-in-law right there.
Yeah, well, of course, I didn't mention I was in the Coast Guard for 13 years. I got a chance to travel the coast, and I even went down to Antarctica, believe it or not. I don't know how. So I did a lot of traveling, saw a lot of lighthouses. Absolutely love them. They're such a staunch, stable thing that, it's like God, He gets in your way when you're going the wrong direction. He's got a light to help to keep you from getting in trouble. And but you still have your choice. You can end up on the rocks if you want to, but you've got.
Okay, so I'm looking at these questions. You already said the money saving technique was to look for the boxes at Hobby Lobby and wait for them to go on sale. So in case brother-in-law and sister are here to hear that was because that was actually part of the questions.
Yep.
And what kind of brushes do you use? Did you answer that one?
No, I didn't. Okay. I use the soft brushes. There are packs of brushes on the wall that are $9.99 and $14.99. And I started out with the $9.99 ones, and now I'm using the $14 ones. I'm also a very important brush is the fan brush, and the Fillmore and the round. And those you can actually. It's better to buy a more expensive fan brush and then cheaper regular brushes, because the fan brush has to be expensive in order to work correctly. And then you just have to learn what brush makes what thing. I've got a certain brush that makes trees that are a mile away, another brush that makes trees that are only 50 feet away. And so you have to learn, the distances, what makes, and I try to tell those things while I'm painting. Because I will say, I'm brushing this side. This half of the brush has got green on it. This side of the brush has got black on it. I dab the brush and I get the green and the black at the same time. And, try to do those kind of things. Next question.
Wow. That sounds kind of advanced. That's good to be that far along in a year. And you already said you painted on the Walmart canvases, because that was a question.
Yeah,
and they did ask the question if you do portrait or landscape, which I already know you do landscapes.
I do lots of landscape. I have not dealt with people or skin tones, or I'm just.
What about animals?
Really, that doesn't interest me.
He started doing animals. He did deer.
Yeah, I did some deer, and I've done some.
He did some
dolphins and a shark. I did a shark for Jaws.
He does snowman.
And
I love snowman.
You want to bring it closer, or you're just going
nice.
Yeah, I like it when they're pointing
up
the star.
I love the starry eye, the starry sky. That's so neat.
Starry sky. And see, now that's a special brush.
Hi, Robert.
Those distant trees. That's just tapping the canvas with a vertical brush to make those trees. And then here's another
He's
one.
getting better at his trees.
Yeah, I am getting better at the trees. And then you can just see the snowman over there. There he is. And he's
I see him.
He's pointing up at the star.
Yeah, I love it that you don't just do straight on snowman. You do the side, you do the back. I think that's neat because everybody else just does your snowman straight on. Hello, Jim Spencer and Homestead Aquarius.
I'm glad you pointed that out, and I never really thought about that. That my focus is not the snowman, but the star.
Yeah, you're putting it, but it brings attention to the snowman because it's different. To me, but I like snowmen, so I'm looking at the snowman. But the sky is really the most beautiful part of it.
Directing people to the sign of Christ, Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Jim Spencer, he's he's like the first one at church on.
Jim Spencer's the front row at my church.
On Team Jesus Ministries channel. He's right there.
Hey, Jim Spencer.
Ready to chat.
Yeah, I'd like to have you come in one day and do an actual spiritual message if you want to from your Team Jesus Ministries, if you're up for it.
Oh yeah,
that sound good?
Thursday nights, every Thursday night at 9:00. I do a live teaching, and then if anybody goes to the Team Jesus Ministers channel, they can just pick. I do very different teachings than most people do. I don't teach the regular stuff.
Yeah. That's probably the good stuff then. Probably the good stuff.
Well, it's not kindergarten Christianity. It's, it's deeper, thicker understanding, like the thing about David taking 20 years to become king. Because I was,
different different outlooks on stuff.
Yeah.
This one is actually my question. This one didn't come from my brother or sister, brother-in-law or sister. Do you paint from memory? Or do you look at something, or do you have a visual, like you've seen something and then you paint it?
You are a good interviewer.
Thank you.
Paint from imagination 99% of the time. I have had to look up what a dolphin is and to get certain things to happen. And I'm working on a deer right now that by looking at a picture, when it comes to dealing with something in reality, I do have to look at a picture, but no, my snowmen, my night skies, my mountains are pictures that I saw in my mind when I was up in Greenland or Iceland or, or someplace, out of the country, Halifax, Nova Scotia. A lot of the mountains look like where I was up in there. The water scenes, things like that are just, I've got this huge imagination that allows me to tell stories right off the cuff, and it seems to be, it's starting to wane a little bit now that I've painted so many paintings. I am starting to look for subjects. I just tried to paint a landscape, and part of it looks good, part of it doesn't. It's just whatever the next challenge is.
Did you tell them about your 20-foot mural?
Oh, yes. So one of the first paintings I did was here at the campground that I'm at. I did a 20-foot mural on the entry wall to the building. And did you get cut off? You're missing.
Sure, come back.
Well, now it's my show.
I'm sorry. Curly Sue
trying to take over.
Curly Sue's trying to take over the live right now. She hit something. Cat came in. My husband came and rescued me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you talked about pre-prep. You've talked about your canvases are primed usually, and you talked about priming your canvases. What do you prime it with?
Well, it's called gesso.
Gesso?
There's a bottle of it right over there if you want to grab it. When you use gesso acrylics, gesso is a primer, a quick dry, and then there is at Walmart doesn't sell it. Only Hobby Lobby sells this stuff that's called Grumbacher.
Hello, Michael's Adventures.
Yeah, Grumbacher first coat. It's behind the painting. Big bottle. Yeah. Now this.
Hello, Blackberry Rock Homestead.
A jar, the metal jar in front of the painting. So This is called acrylic gesso. It's a big bottle like this, big top. You coat your canvas with that.
You get that at Hobby Lobby?
Yeah, no, this was actually on sale at Walmart for like $4.
Okay.
And usually about 15. So
you do want to coat your
you canvas ahead of time.
Before you paint it. That way it's good and dry, right?
It's Grumbacher. Now this is the oil paint first coat. You put this on thinly before you start your oil painting. Now this doesn't dry. This is remember when Bob Ross would just kind of start blending, and you would do a miracle look. Well, that's because he had this underneath his paint. And,
this was after the fire.
This is
after we had a Wares Valley fire.
Yeah.
A little distant fire I had.
We had a wildfire
up in
here.
The mountains, little fire truck down at the bottom.
We covered, and then he painted that as a memory. He was going to give it to the fire department.
Yeah. Next time they have an auction or something, I'm going to give it to the fire department for a fundraiser. So she brought that over here because that's how I paint from memory. I didn't sit up on a mountain and paint that. That was sitting here at home after being on the mountain and seeing the fire, and just recalling from my memory what I saw, what I felt. And and then this is an erupting volcano. That not to reflect. Okay, that doesn't reflect. So that's a volcano painting that I did.
Did you show this one?
And got a lighthouse for you.
You could send that to her.
Maybe this would be the one that you
very pretty.
Yeah, there's the lighthouse. And
Love it.
I'm not done with that though. I want to put a little bit more in the foreground, but that is that's oil. This one is oil, so it takes a while to dry.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we enjoy it. So I forget the original part of the question, but
it's the primer part.
Those are the two primers to use. You do want a wet primer on the canvas, depending on what you're doing, just because it helps you blend. Obviously, acrylics dry too fast, but you'll find that without that primer, the grain of the canvas starts to get into your painting, where instead of seeing the clouds, you're seeing the grain of canvas. So you've got to have that primer on there to give you a thicker coat, fill in the threads of the canvas. And there is a difference between 12 canvases for $12 and 2 canvases for $12. Those 2 canvases are much tighter and probably have 3 coats of primer on them at the factory, and a much better canvas. Whereas the 12 would be kind of cheap and loose.
Okay.
Good practice.
That makes sense. Yeah, good practice.
Donnie's a Coast Guard veteran.
Yeah, I did 13 years, and saw a lot of lighthouses. Next question.
A lot of stuff. So after you use the tubes of paint, do you just store it in the tube, or do you have something else that you put it in after you're done with it?
It's a good question. I actually use, like a lot of paintings, the back of the painting will have a plastic coat on the unused canvas. Usually comes wrapped in plastic to keep it from molding, milding, getting. So they sell them with a clear cellophane on them. Well, I just use that cellophane as my palette. You know how Bob would hold that thing in his arm when he was painting, mixing right on the palette. That's what I do. I squeeze a little bit at a time on the palette, and then mix right there in front of me my paints. I don't try to put too much on the palette. I think a lot of times, like even Bob Ross, they're getting money for selling paint. So the faster you go through that paint, the more they sell. So they squeeze a lot out, but I don't squeeze a lot out. I only try to.
Yeah, that's my sister and brother-in-law. That's what they were saying. They said they seem to waste a lot of paint. And I think it just has to do with the pressure. Even when I'm putting conditioner in my hair to save, I have to remember, okay, put less conditioner in your hair, go slower here, and do it intentionally. And I think that's what probably they're doing. They're just like getting all excited and then I know that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I paint little things like crafts, like I'm going to work on, while I'm on Garden State Gardener, I'm going to work on a craft while we're on the live. So I'm actually going to paint and make a little ornament, or I'm going to do like step 1 of that on the live, because we were told to bring something to work on or show. So I'm going to work on something, and I'm also going to do a little bit of a show and tell.
Okay.
So anyway,
you're dipping right out of a bottle, though, right? Like you just dip the brush in the bottle.
yeah, mine's just your cheap 50-cent Walmart paint, a little pack of little heart things, and I'm going to make little ornaments in memory of my sister. I was trying to find little ornaments that are already made just to put her picture in, but I looked at Walmart, they didn't have anything, so I bought a little wood thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take her picture, I'm going to make that picture 4 times, then I'm going to cut it to the right size, then I'm going to laminate it, stick it onto that wood, but the wood's already going to be painted a pretty color, and then I'm going to either put a hole to hang a thing, or I'm going to put a twine on there, and then I'll probably put some rhinestones to make it pretty, but it's shaped like a heart, but I'm going to paint it in Christmas colors because it's going to be a Christmas tree ornament. And I'm going to make enough for my mom, my sister, and my brother, and then 1 for myself. So I'm going to make 4 just the same, or they'll probably all be a little different, but yeah. So I'm going to do that. But anyway, I was going to buy one, but I could not find any that were already made. So I decided I'm just going to make my own. And since I have a laminating machine, after I get the picture cut to the right size, I'll laminate it, then cut it out and stick it on there. That way it'll stay preserved for the time. That's the plan I came up with that I thought would make it last the longest.
Handwriting that has the advice. Well, let's see. What's the next question?
Okay. When you do, have you ever done paintings with texture?
Yes, I have.
And what do you use for your texture?
Well, that's texture right there.
Here's a very heavily textured painting
of the mountains.
Of mountains. Let me see if I can hold that close enough so you can see how much. The other way. You can see how much. Just by the reflection, you can see how. There you can see how the reflection is showing how much texture. That is a special tool. It's a blade. It kind of looks like a spatula that you would flip pancakes with or something like that, but in the miniature form. And that is one reason why you have to have a palette, because you have to take that blade, lay your paint down on the palette, and then scoop it up with the blade and get it just on the edge of the blade, and then bring it down the mountain like that. That's one kind of texture.
It's like dip down to make it the texture that you need it to be.
And the texture, then I did a painting like the volcano painting. I did a very heavy white primer and let it sit there for 2 or 3 days. And that primer dried and crackled. And it gave me, a perfect, there is the blade right there.
Okay.
That is the blade that you can make mountains with. Watch old Bob use that thing for hours. And you can use also the top edge too for shorter spots. And then, this is a blending brush, bigger blending brush. This is a cloud and trees brush. As you can see by the bristles, you're looking down at a forest. If you were on a drone, you would say, well, I'm over a forest. Well, that's exactly how that's a good one for tapping and making.
Tap, tap,
tap. I find that the hardest part is making the right color, but then also getting how to get the paint the right consistency and on the brush. And then this is the very famous fan brush like Bob Ross uses, and you have to obviously clean it, make sure it's smooth and right. But I paid a lot more for this one buying it separately than from a kit. You can spend $9 on one brush, and you can spend $9 on a pack of 16 different size brushes, to let you know what the difference is. And Hobby Lobby does those 50% off sales every 2 weeks in the paint department. So don't be afraid to wait 2 weeks. The professionals
advise to get a small canvas and just start, with a
Right.
smaller canvas. Just start there and just get your skills up.
I've been talking to a lot of the
Pro painters
that are making a living,
artist painters,
and each one of them had a different piece of advice, which is added up to a tremendous amount of advice, which was to sketch your painting first. Take a little chalk marker or a little grease pencil and mark out where you think things are going to be and what you're going to do. That's now, I haven't done that as an imagination painter. I start making my sky and I just start coming down, and whatever happens, happens. There's even one video where I turned the painting upside down and continued because the other way was so much prettier.
We have galleries in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge with famous painters, and so
Robert
he's had the
Tino.
opportunity to talk with them.
Abraham, I speak with Abraham Hunter.
And they are impressed with his painting. They are impressed with it. And then one of them recommended this book.
This book, which is, and I recommend that for anybody that wants to paint, called Composition Made Easy.
And did you buy that at a store, or did you order that from Amazon or something?
Amazon.
It's Amazon. It's no longer in print.
Yeah, this is from 1970. And I got the last one, but you know how that goes. They always say you're buying the last one.
There's actually a used book company. I wonder if something like that would have it. Joy, can you send me the name of that book, and I might try to search a different place for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, by Walter.
Yeah,
Foster.
I'll take a picture and send it to you.
By
Okay,
Walter
thank
Foster.
you. Not for me, for a gift.
It's a very good book, and there's other. He did several books.
It was kind of pricey, though. I mean, it was
expensive.
It was like about $45.
It was $3 when it was first introduced, so now it's $40. And I got one of the few that was untouched. They sell. There's one that says notes and grimy and moldy and different conditions, but this was like one of the last ones that was pristine. So I did pay extra for it to be unmarked. So that's a possibility.
Here is the next question. How do you create cells when you do pours? Now, I did a dirty pour one time, but I think that's a little bit different than cells. But I did a dirty pour, but I think they were asking about a different kind of a thing than that. They were asking about how do you create cells. Have you done any pour type painting?
Or no.
No.
Where you pour the paint. And
I have not done those.
I was thinking about doing that myself.
I did a dirty pour paint. I did it I was following kind of what Lori's World does on her paintings. And I did one, but I did it on a too cheap of a canvas. So there was so much paint that it actually concaved. But it was a really cool. I kept it for a little while and then I threw it away. But I think next time I do it, I'm going to either buy a more expensive canvas or I'm going to do it on wood. So it won't.
Also, make sure you have a Lazy Susan.
Lazy Susan?
Yeah, got to have a Lazy Susan, because the ones I've seen that have done real pretty ones will put a drip of paint on it and then spin the whole canvas and then start to pour. And the spinning canvas will make a unique each one will be different as they
like what you would make like what women put their desserts on back in the days. The thing that spins. Okay, yeah, that's cool. But I do want to try that. I like the dirty pour. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah,
and I want to try it again.
The thing is that the reason I have not done that is it's not where my imagination goes. That's abstract painting, whereas I want to be more creating a scene instead of an emotion. Because one of the painters said, he said, you can paint a painting or you can paint a work of art. Mm-hmm. Which one do you want to do? And I've been getting my mind geared up away because I've just been painting paintings.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do a work of art, I've got to read this book and study and up my game. And
I think you're doing really good for a year in. I mean, I think it's I would have never guessed a year. I would have put you further down the line.
Well, it is. I'm just as surprised as other people. I get to watch it happen with everybody else on my live streams. Like, oh, look at that. I can't believe I just did that. I've just been real blessed to have that happen.
Did you guys put up your Christmas decorations or a tree? Well, I see a snowman. Did y'all put up a tree?
We're just a few. My Christmas is still in storage, so
Oh.
I get out a few totes for Christmas, and then we keep that up through February, because we're
Yeah.
Christmas people. We're November to February, November to March Christmas people.
Yeah, we usually would have had ours up already, but we have started. We're maybe running about a week behind, because we had a quite a interesting year. Let's just say not a great year, but I'm trying to turn the things that happened into my life, like losing my sister. I'm trying to turn that pain into something good by volunteering at the local Open Door to help. Well, a lot of what they do is help young women who are pregnant, young pregnant women. Now, they don't do anything like abortions or anything like that, but they help them like with classes, and they give them clothes, and they do counseling and give them lessons and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And they also give backpacks for the homeless people. So I've been filling some of those, and they give them. I think they could just give them to people that walk in, or maybe like people that get out of jail, right when they get out of jail, or something.
Yeah, there's a real need for parenting. And this generation has not had a good set of parents.
Yeah, no, we're so digital. Our kids are turning out to be internet zombies. They don't like it when we say that, but that's what they are. I mean, our kids don't even get in trouble like normal because they're in the house so much. They don't even you know what I mean? They're not even out partying. They're just like playing on the computer all day.
Yeah.
Like they have no desire to even leave their chair.
They've never heard the phrase "go out and play."
They can't even like get up out of their chair. It's like,
Wow.
dude, they don't even know how to get in trouble. Hey, let me tell you, I knew how to get in trouble. Well, my sister, the one that just passed away, she's the one that got me in the most trouble. I was actually a good kid, but I did like my big sister, and I did follow her to do some bad things I probably shouldn't have done. But how am I supposed to turn her down? She was so convincing, and I was so naive and
Perfect little sister.
Yeah, perfect little sister. I was naive, and I was just an innocent follower of whatever she was doing.
Well, that would
But I probably wouldn't have gotten any trouble at all if it weren't for her. So maybe it was good in a way, because it wasn't real bad. It wasn't real bad trouble.
Earlier about storytelling and the ministry, one of the notes that I wrote here was what got me into ministry was wanting by getting free. That was the thing that got me into Team Jesus. That's what got me into this, was because I was getting free from things I saw other people having problems with. And I wanted to share, give a testimony, tell a story, of how I got free, what God did for me, so that other people could, I use the example of Jaws. And it's my desire to tell a story as good as Jaws, because before the movie Jaws in 1972, no one thought anything about walking into the ocean. But you can't walk into salt water now without thinking about that shark. You can't.
Yeah.
The whole world changed because of that story. And so in the same way, the story of Christ, or the story that happens in each of our lives, can change somebody else's life so that they never go there or do that again, just because they've experienced something like that. And I want to tell a story like that. I want to paint a painting that someone says, that changed the way I think, that changed how I feel. It brought peace to me to look at this painting.
Yeah.
I want to do that kind of thing. And that's what gets me into storytelling. That's what gets me into the ministry.
Yeah.
Of wanting
I think your paintings are doing that, because when I'm looking at the picture of the snowman, I just feel like a sense of calm, the starry sky and the snowman. And I just love snow. Like I lived in Texas all my life. I moved to Rhode Island for about 5 years and then came back to Texas later. But I did have my time of actually seeing the snow, and I do miss it, and so But that was one thing. That was a memory of my dad too, because every time it snowed, my dad would call me, because at one time we were in the same town, and he would be like, "Is it snowing on your side of town?" I'm like, "Yeah, it is. It's snowing on you." Or even when I was in Rhode Island and he was in Texas, I'd be like, "Guess what, Dad? It's snowing today." And then he'd be like, "Guess what? It's snowing in Texas today," or whatever. So that's a little memory. So the snow is kind of a memory of my dad, because that was a thing we did. Hello, Good Eats Homestead.
There's nothing more peaceful and beautiful than snow on a streetlight.
Snow on a street light. That's right.
And when the cars don't even make noise, they just kind of crunch.
Crunch across the street. Hello, Lori's World. How are you?
That's we
mentioned you earlier, Lori, about the dirty pour thing, because we were talking about painting. And we're going to go over and do a love raid. If somebody will put the link up for Joy Bless Life's premiere, and then I'm going to ask you one more question after that.
Okay.
I've got the link.
The link for Joy Bless Life premiere. We're going to go by and do a love raid for Joy, who is Donnie's wife, right after this.
Oh, thank you.
And my last question that I always ask is, do you have a question for me?
Oh.
And sometimes I ask them ahead of time so they can prepare something. And sometimes I just ask them just to see what they'll ask me on the fly.
Oh, really? What
so you got on the fly.
Okay. Do you make a good parent? Are you a good parent?
Am I a good parent? I try to be a good parent. I mean, I'm a stepmom, so I didn't actually have the kids. But I try to give good advice, and I try to pay attention to what they're going through. And I pick up on little small details that my husband doesn't pick up on.
That's your
because
job.
I'm just very in tune with people.
Yeah.
And currently right now, I would say I'm doing better with the older child than the younger child. The younger child, I would say, is kind of going through her separating from parents phase. So that's been really hard on me. This year I had to decorate the Christmas tree without my daughter, and it was very hard. And I actually cried. So it was tough. Yep. So I don't think she knows. I miss her, but I do.
Aww. The Lord will bring her back.
So thank you, Donnie, for making me cry.
Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for now. Your scripture is Colossians 1:20, where it says, "By the blood of his cross, he reunited, reestablished, reconnected all things, whether things on heaven or things on earth." So you just claim Colossians 1:20 over your relationship. God, you have reconciled all things unto yourself and unto this earth. So I am reconciled with my family, my daughter, according to that scripture. So that's a good one.
Amen.
You got a nice, honest, genuine answer with tears and everything. So if you can't say anything else about Gail Southern Living, you can say I keep it real, because these are real, raw emotions.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it real.
Okay. It just depends. After we get off the air, then what are you really going to think? How could he say that? How could he do that? Oh, no. Made me cry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just, it's just one of those things. I'm probably a little extra sensitive this year because of losing my sister. So
no, that's all right.
I'm having to work a little harder at Christmas and just a little harder at everything. I'm just having to intentionally do everything and tell myself it's okay to be behind on things because of going through my emotions about my sister and stuff. So
that was I appreciate that way I was able to minister to you.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm actually going through grief counseling right now at the Open Door. So, and it is a Christian based place. So
just worship over your sister. Worship you over her sister, Lord. Bless her sister. Remember the good things and worship you, Lord, sister.
That's right.
All right.
So the love raid is in there.
Okay.
Right up under on Joy Bless Life. So if you guys will go by and give her a love rate on her premiere.
And it's
we'll
Donny. It'll be Donny.
And I'll be there too.
Donnie's the one that vlogged that video. I gave him my GoPro and he did a walk around the Festival of Trees while I was taking pictures of the trees. So it's actually him.
And I'm joking around.
Yeah.
All
A
right.
little bit. I do a lot of voices, you know. I do a lot of impersonations.
Yeah.
I do Forrest Gump and John
Yeah.
Wick and all kinds
That'll be fun.
I
And then
know.
after that, after their premiere at 6 p.m. Central Time, I will be on Garden State Gardener on the crafty roundtable that he is having today. So you will get to see me start working on my Christmas ornaments in memory of my sister Gretchen.
All right.
So please do the love raid and go by and give them hearts and hellos from Gail Southern Living.
Okay.
Thank you for coming on, Donny and Joy. And I'm going to reschedule Joy's interview for. I'll get a date out to her here pretty soon, and we'll get hers rescheduled. So,
Yeah.
anyway, thanks for coming by, guys.
Okay. Well, have a good night.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Thanks for
great.
coming in.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.